You can start seeing how strong that relationship is. So if you acquire a customer that's only going to buy once and you'll never see them again, versus someone that's likely to be a lifelong customer of your business, you can start valuing and investing accordingly. Now, of course, with all the individual customers, that's a lot of information. So generally what we'll do is we'll group these customers together and we'll say, what do they look like, just maybe in this case, in quartiles? Now, this won't surprise a lot of you, but generally what we'll see is that about 80% of the value for any particular retailer will be driven by just 20% of their customers. Sometimes it's even more polarized. So if anybody works in mobile gaming typically sees about 95% of their revenue come from just 0.2% of their customer base. Now think about that in terms of optimization. Think about that in terms of opinion and decisions. Do you care about all these customers equally? We don't want to send anybody away, but if someone says they really like these particular products or they like a particular ad, isn't it important to know how much they're going to contribute to the business over their lifetime? How many customers and advertisers do you think bid differently based on these groups? Most of them are going to bid exactly the same. Spend the same amount, the same CPA, whether someone's going to be in the bottom tier or the top, just because they didn't have the data until now. And when you start to have this data, other things also start to make sense. So we work with advertisers sometimes that say, you know what, our conversion rate, they'll go back to that conversion metric, our conversion rate's only 2.5%. Wow, imagine if we could get that just a little bit higher. Well, we decided to go a step further and just say, well, if these customers are better than these customers, do you think they convert at different rates? And it turns out we've actually seen sometimes a conversion rate, this is our highest, of 11.5% from the groups in the top tier, and the bottom tier, 0.02. Bidding equally across both groups. Their average conversion rate for the entire site, only 2.5%. And they were thinking, wow, if only we could get this a little bit higher, if only we could get this to 3%. Imagine how profitable we would be. And now we say, well, now that you have this understanding, you probably can. So we're just going to walk you through this. And by the way, this type of overview, this type of metric, this is one that is gradually increasing in awareness in the industry. The Mary Meeker report that came out just a couple weeks ago even highlighted it, asked customers, it said, as your customer acquisition costs are rising, what metrics and data points are you starting to look at? Now, 2 or 3 years ago, this would still be conversions. We want to focus entirely on it. Now we actually see that closed and won business is starting to slip down, and the lifetime value field is starting to become even more popular, even more so than attribution. So retailers are picking up on these techniques. They haven't hit mainstream just yet, which is why this is so exciting, to witness this change together. But it's coming. And these types of understanding, once you understand your customers, those have ripple effects across everything that you do. So think about it. If you're running an A/B test on your website right now, now with an A/B test, you might look at 2 different variations, and you're going to look across all your customers and maybe take 10% of your traffic, and you're going to say, well, which version converted the best? But maybe it's the case that those customers that are going to spend the most money with your firm are looking for something entirely different. And in their case, different variations are better.